Today we're back on the Hout Bay beach with Colofello and the Sentinel group. And what are we going to do this afternoon, Colofello?
Welcome back, everybody. So when the water goes back out, when we're with the kids on the beach, we find a little cool stuff. So we would like you to actually help us identify the things, because sometimes I don't even know what to tell the kids.
Okay, let's go for a walk and see what we can find. Okay, sit down, guys. What about eggs? Can you see different sorts of eggs here?
Yes.
This one here. Yeah.
And the second one.
And that one. So these ones are cat shark eggs, the little baby shark eggs. And they have little tendrils on the corner. And then as the female shark lays them, she swims round and around, something like the sea fan here, and ties the egg case onto it with those tendrils. And then they sit there for 2 or 3 months, and the little shark grows inside, and then it opens at the end here. You see there's that opening that tells you that the shark has hatched out, and then the little baby shark comes out. And the baby shark's only going to be about that long. So they're really tiny sharks. This one's a shark egg case with the little tendrils on the corner, and this is a stingray egg case. So it's square and it has little short things on the corner. And this one's not attached, it just lies on the sand, and then the baby develops inside. And this is also a St. Joseph egg case, so this is another type of egg case. It's not a true shark, it's a relative of the sharks. Very strange looking fish with a little wiggly thing on its nose. I can show you a picture of it if you like. Very strange looking. With a riffly little nose. So the sharks can use it to lay their eggs on, but you know what sort of, is it an animal or plant?
It's a animal.
It's an animal, yeah. What sort of animal? Here's another smaller piece. It's the same thing as this.
It's a coral.
A coral, yes. A type of coral. So it's a sea fan. I call them sea fans. It's related to the corals. So it has little anemone-like polyps that grow on it. And this is the skeleton of, after it's died and the little sea anemones have all broken off it, then you get left with this skeleton. So this is just dead material, it's not smelly. And you can just use it to hang your jewelry on or whatever.
As a Christmas tree.
Or a little baby Christmas tree. Yeah. What other eggs have we got here? There's some more eggs. Do you know what eggs these are? So these are whelk eggs. So this is a whelk. So those are his eggs. And they lay little packets of eggs onto a shell or onto a rock. And then inside each of these little egg cases, there's several eggs. And then they'll hatch into tiny little crawling whelks. So the whelks will come out of the egg when they're only like 1 or 2 millimeters long. So these are whelk eggs, and that's a whelk type of shell. And then you all know what this is, I guess? A crab. And you know how to tell boy crabs from girl crabs? Which one's this?
It's a female.
That's a male, yeah. So the abdomen in a male crab is narrow like this, and actually if you lift it away, those are his penises. He's got 2 of them. And in the female crab, the abdomen's broad and triangular like this. But usually when you find crabs washed up like this, the actual crab is still alive. So in order to grow, crabs have got to molt, so they have to change their skin. So it's like taking off, as you grow, taking off one set of clothes and putting another one on. So it loses its skin, and then it grows a new shell underneath. So most of the crabs that you see washed up on the beach, the actual crab is still out there in the ocean and is perfectly happy and is swimming around. The thing that you're seeing washed up on the beach is just his old coat that he's discarded. And actually, if you look at those discarded coats, then they open at the back here because the animal has snuck out the back and left his old jacket behind. Do you know what this is? It's from a snail, it's part of a snail, part of this snail, in fact. So this is his trapdoor. So when he goes back into the shell, and to protect himself from predators that might eat him, then he has a trapdoor that he closes the shell with. And then when he comes out, the trapdoor moves to the side and the snail comes out and walks away. So this is the trapdoor of this Alikreukel shell. So that belongs to him. This is an interesting one. So this is a giant mussel. This is called a horse mussel. So it lives in the sand and it lives buried up to about that far. So this part would be buried in the sand. And the only bit that you would see sticking out is this round bit here. And just like other mussels, it just feeds by filtering the water. So it sucks in water through this opening at the top here, filters that water through its big kind of curtain-like gills, and then expels the filtered water out through this aperture again. And it just lives on the tiny little particles in the seawater. And so this one lives buried in the sand, not in the intertidal, but a little bit deeper down. And then after storms like this, they quite often get washed up. So this is the biggest mussel that you get in South Africa. So this is the shell of a sea urchin, and all the spines of the sea urchin have come off now, and we're just left with the empty shell. And each one of these little knobs on the shell is where one of the spines was attached. So the spines are attached with a little ball and socket joint. So there's a little ball on there, and at the base of each spine there's a little socket. It died. It can't leave its shell. So when it dies, all the spines break off and you get left with this structure. So I'm going to just break this in half. Oh, it just broke. So it's all made out of little, perfect little bricks. So it can keep growing. It grows along the edges of the bricks. If you look at it closely there, you see it's all made out of little squares. See how it breaks apart into little bricks. And each one of these sections will also break into individual bricks. So it's just like a brick wall made out of little square portions. It grows along the edges of each one of these bricks so that it can constantly stay the same shape but get bigger and bigger. And if you hold these up and look at them against the light, you can see little holes in them. And that's where the little feet of the sea urchin poke through. So hold it up to the sky and look at it, and you see it's hundreds of little holes in it. Here's another interesting thing here. This is a little clam, and do you know why it's got that hole in it then?
So they can breathe.
No.
So they can eat the water.
No, somebody else made the hole. The predator made a hole. So there's a thing called a necklace shell, another type of whelk, and they actually drill these holes in the shells of mussels and clams like this, and then they put their mouths on the end of a long trunk like an elephant's, and they stick it into that hole and suck out the animal from inside. So it's a really neat way of predating. Which this?
Yes.
Ah, okay, so this is quite an interesting thing. This is a chiton. So chitons are a primitive group of mollusks related to the snails and the mussels, but they have 8 shells along the back. And they stick themselves down onto the rocks and then graze on the small algae on the surface of the rocks with a big rasping tongue. So you often get the individual plates of these that are washed up. When you get an individual one of these 8 plates washed up, people call them mermaid's teeth. Some of them grow very big, and they live a very sort of slow lifestyle. So I think it probably would live for a few years, but not for decades. And what about this one? Do you know what this is?
Bring it back. A limpet.
Almost. You're getting very close. Getting warm. You're getting warm. Limpet. Yay! She gets the prize.
Because they root and you.
So this is the Kelp Limpet. You see how the shell is bent like that. If you look at it from the end, you see how it's bent like that. And it's just so, give me your arm. So it can sit on the stem of the kelp, you see. It's curved like that so that it can sit on the... So it's specially adapted. It only lives on kelp. It's a very unique Cape Town thing. You won't find them anywhere else in the world. So it's actually a very special type of shell. You see them commonly on the beach here, but it's specially adapted. And we've just learned that the octopuses actually climb up from the bottom and climb up the kelp fronds and eat these. And so if you're really lucky on the beach, then you pick up one of these. It's a very beautiful thing to find on the seashore. So this is called a paper Nautilus. And it's also a type of an octopus. And it's only the female octopuses that have these. And they're actually little prams for them to lay their eggs in. So the female has the shell, and then she lays her eggs in the shell, and they grow in the shell. And the male doesn't have the shell at all. So this is a very beautiful thing to find. And you do find them on the beach. I picked this one up in Musenberg not that long ago. So that has a completely different function from the other shells that we've been looking at. So I think we've got quite a few interesting things here. And whenever you walk on the beach like this, you always find stacks of interesting little pieces of animals, and it can be quite an interesting detective story to work out what they are.
Hit subscribe if you want to see more Explore the Shore.